Was Al-Idrisi. Al-Idrisi was an Arab cartographer. Who is a cartographer? Cartographer means who makes a map, who draws a map. What difference do you notice in the map drawn by Al-Idrisi? So in the map drawn by Al-Idrisi, we find completely different view. South India is shown at the present, at the top, where in North India was there and is there right now, and Sri Lanka is the island at the top, which should be down below. Who used the term Hindustan for the first time and when? So Minhaj-e-Siraj, he used Hindustan for the first time in the 13th century. What sources do the historians use for the study of a particular period of history? So the historian used the source like coins, inscriptions, architectures and textual records for the study of a specific period. What do you mean by archives? So archives are the place where manuscripts are collected. Who were scribes? So scribes were those professionals who used to copy down the manuscripts. How did the scribes copy down the manuscripts? Scribes copied down the manuscript by their hands. What changes took place during 700 and 1750? So many technologies like the Persian wheel in irrigation, the spinning wheel in weaving, and the firearms in combat made their appearance. Some new foods and beverages like potatoes, corn, chilies, tea and coffee, they also arrived in the subcontinent. What factors contributed to the variety of developments? So the new technologies and innovation came to the subcontinent with the people who came from other areas and they settled here. What were the new groups of people to be prominent in this age? So Rajputs, the Marathas, Sikhs, Jats, Ahoms, Kayasthas, these were the groups which came to be very prominent in this age, and they availed most of the opportunities of the society. What do you mean by Jati Panchayat? So Jati Panchayat was assembly of elders who controlled the conduct of the members of their Jati, and they had their own rules and their own regulations. Who was the chief of the village? So villagers were controlled by chieftain. Even the smaller Jati Panchayats were bound to follow the village administration. What was the stretch of Delhi Sultan Ghyasuddin Balban's empire? So according to the Sanskrit Prashasti, Delhi Sultan Ghyasuddin Balban's empire was stretched from Bengal, that is Gauda, in the east to Gajna in Afghanistan in the west. It also included all of South India, that is Dravid. Why did Brahmanas dominate in the society during this period? So Brahmans were the only class of people who were proficient and they are aware of Sanskrit language. This was the reason that made them prominent in the society. Who were the patrons? So patrons were a group of rulers and rich class of people who provided protection and livelihood to the Brahmanas, artists and poets. What was the major development of this age? So the emergence of idea of bhakti was the major development of this age related to Hindu religion or Hinduism. How history was divided by historians during the middle of the 19th century. So the British historians, they actually divided the history of India into three periods: the Hindu, the Muslim and the British. What was the basis of such division? These divisions were made on the basis of religion, as the historian did not consider any other aspect which are prominent enough to be a basis of the division. So they were not prominent other than the development of these religions. What difference do you trace out in region of Hindustan of 13th century and modern India? So the term Hindustan in the 13th century implied the areas of Punjab, Haryana and the lands between Ganga and Yamuna. Minhaj-e-Siraj, he used the term in political sense of the land consisting of part of dominions of the Delhi Sultanate. So the areas included in this term were actually shifted with the extents of Sultanate, but it never included the South India. What does time mean for historians? How does it help them? So time for historian doesn't mean just passing of hours or days or years. Instead, it reflects changes in social and economic organization, in the persistence and transformation of ideas and beliefs. So in order to study historical developments, the historian divide the past into three, you can say, large segments. It made the study convenient. So the historians study different aspects of the specific period and then assess the comparative development, their impact on society, and their contribution to future generation. What do you mean by pan-regional rule and what was its impact? So pan-regional rule applies to the trend of extending, pan means total, from left to right, all there in totality, extending the empire to the region beyond one's own state. With the decline of Mughal Empire in the 18th century, many regional states emerged. So consequently, a chance of sharing different tradition in the realms of governance, economy, elite cultures and languages were brightened. So people knew a lot of new things, manners, etc. without losing their own culture and their own identity. What was the process of copying manuscript? What were its drawbacks? So as there was no printing press at that time, between 700 and 1750, scribes used to copy down the manuscript, which were actually handwritten. Sometimes it was difficult to recognize the original script, so the scribes used their own way of interpreting the facts. And in result, consequently, there were differences found in the copies written by different scribes. So as all the copies were handwritten, it was difficult to recognize which was the original one, and it was the drawback of such copying. Trace out the major changes in the society during 700 and 1750. What was its main reason? So a number of changes took place in society between these 1000 years, between 700 and 1750. This period traced the technological appearance of Persian wheel in irrigation, spinning wheel in weaving, and firearms in combat. Potatoes, corn, chilies, tea, coffee, they were some of the new food and beverages, and they were introduced and they were accepted. So these developments came with the arrival of people who migrated to this land, and because of this, the period saw various changes in economic, political, social and cultural life. What was the change in the religion at that time? Trace out major developments. So the period between 700 and 1750 witnessed major changes in the religion. It was seen prominently in Hinduism. So Hinduism, there was a prominent change. The worship of new deities, first of all, the construction of temples by royalty, and the growing importance of Brahmanas, the priests, as dominant groups in society were some of the major developments. The idea of bhakti also emerged. Merchants and migrants actually bought new teachings of Quran, the holy book of Muslims, Mohammedans we call. A class of patrons emerged. They were the rulers who provided shelter and protection to the ulemas, the learned theologians and jurists. So Muslims were divided into two groups, Shia and Sunni. Shia Muslims believed in Prophet Muhammad's authority, while Shia Muslim believed in the Sunnis believed in Prophet Muhammad's authority, and the Khalifas, but the Shias, they believed in the son-in-law Ali, Mr. Ali, as their main key respectable.